Alright, what's up, everybody? We're back with another episode of the Live, Laugh, Left podcast, season 4, episode number 29. Going to get interrupted. My cats are fighting. I don't know why they're fighting, but they are fighting because I'm not doing anything pertaining to catering to their every whim. But we're going to continue with it anyways. They already interrupted my God of War 3 review. Anyways, Daytona happened. The Cup Series playoffs is set. Plus, the Xfinity Series playoffs got a little bit more found out. So we're going to go over that and figure out who made the Cup Series playoffs. So that should be fun. Got some silly season news to go over. Some sad news as well with some couple of deaths. And then, of course, at the end, we will preview this weekend's action at both Darlington and for the Xfinity Series there in Portland. So they will be talking about all that today. So let's get right into it. First, we got to talk about Daytona. The Xfinity Series. Well, the whole weekend in general was affected by rain. Cup qualifying got rained out. Xfinity qualifying got rained out. Xfinity Series race got delayed twice due to rain. It was kind of a mess. Wasn't as bad as it was looking to be, but it still got affected. So nothing you can really do about that, I guess. Harrison Burton. So now NASCAR had some weird decisions with throwing the caution this whole weekend, and it started on lap 4 of the Xfinity race when Harrison Burton got spun down the backstretch. Now you would think that would cause a caution, as it has many times before at Daytona. But nope. No caution. Harrison Burton has a limp as flat-tired car around pit road and lost like 2 fucking laps or whatever. Don't know why they didn't throw a caution, but they didn't throw a caution. The big one hit to end the first stage. It collected Taylor Gray, Carson Quapple, Nick Sanchez, and many others. Sammy Smith went around to end stage 2, collecting William Sawalas and Jeb Burton, along with a few others. But really, for the spin that it was, and for the wreck that it probably should have been, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad of a crash, honestly. Anthony Alfredo stalled his car to start stage 3, so that was not great. Raja Karuth went around for a spin as well, and for the second time tonight, no yellow flag was issued. Why there wasn't a caution thrown again, I have no fucking clue, but Taylor Gray blew a tire, which caused a pretty big crash, collecting Jeremy Clemens and Bassarella as well. Still can't pronounce his first name. Then the big one hit again late in the race. Took out Matt Benedetto, took out Ryan Sieg, William Swalich again, along with many others were taken out in the crash. It was tough for Ryan Sieg as he was trying to win a race. Thought he had this one in the bag, and he didn't. The car was pretty torn up. That then set up a pretty anticlimactic finish to the race. Connor Zilich, still injured from his fall at Watkins Glen, did start the race in the 88 car in order to collect points. But early in the race, he was pulled in favor of Parker Kligerman being put in as a relief driver. And in redemption from what could have been at Daytona in the Truck Series race at the opener back in February, Parker Kligerman held on with the power of Junior Motorsports pretty much gatekeeping the whole field. And was able to pick up the win, again, in redemption fashion from what could have been in the Truck Series, or what would have been had his truck not been disqualified. And the field wrecked behind him as it happened. So, 3 big ones in the Xfinity Series, collecting many, many drivers. But that was it. Parker Kligerman wins. Technically, it's Connor Zilich that gets the win, though. It's like win number 55 for him this season. It's great. I mean, he's won on like every configuration of track now, which is pretty insane. So if he doesn't win the championship, that's an absolute travesty. Just gotta say. But the Xfinity playoffs still have a couple of races to go, or at least one race left, if not two. So we're not going to worry about them just yet. Let's move on to the Cup race. This is where the power was coming in, where the playoffs were going to be set. You know what I mean? First off, William Byron. He had a lap 1 penalty. His crew chief got suspended too, and he had to serve a lap 1 penalty. Didn't really mean much for him though. Casey Mears. You guys remember Casey Mears? Yeah, he was back in this race, going for 400 career Cup Series starts. Yeah, he did not have a fun night. I don't know what he was expecting, seeing that he drove pretty shit across his entire career. But he did not do well in this one. He got his flat tire early, went around first spin. And then later on in the first stage, Todd Gilliland went around for a spin after a terrible block. And he collected Tyler Reddick in the process, which was huge at the time because Tyler Reddick was still in the cut line. Well, not on the cut line, but he was not locked into the playoffs. And if there had been a new winner and he was lose points, it became a huge deal because he could continue, but he was not anywhere near competitive because his car was beat up. But that didn't mean anything, because somebody made an even dumber block at late in first stage, which caused the big one. Yay, another big one. Fun fact, I think it was the only big one of the entire night. Took out Kyle Busch, which sucked because he was our fantasy pick for the second year in a row in the summer race at Daytona, and he failed. Thank you, Kyle Busch, for sucking ass now. Also took out Bubba Wallace, Austin Cindric, many others. Most importantly, Alex Bowman, the other driver that wasn't locked into the playoffs on points but was above the cut line. So with Bowman not being able to continue, that meant Tyler Reddick was officially locked into the playoffs. So he didn't have anything to worry about. Meanwhile, Alex Bowman has to sit in his trailer and hope to God that there's not a new winner. And I was writing percentages while the race was going on. I was like percentagizing how many cars were on the track and how many of them were to be a new winner and how many of them were not. Seeing what chances Alex Bowman had to get into the playoffs. It's pretty fun. I like doing that. The second stage was a lot less eventful. Carson Hocevar lost the motor and had to park on the track. That was the only caution there. And then to start stage 3, Casey Mears blew another tire. Great to have him back. Denny Hamlin, recovering from crash damage from the big one, blew a tire and then missed pit road like twice. He was just kind of like just driving around the track, and he was like crashing out the whole time in the car. Not literally crashing out, just crashing out mentally in the car. It was kind of funny, honestly. And then we got another fucking bullshit run by NASCAR. Here goes BJ McLeod, still in the race, not doing half bad, until he gets spun and crashes on the backstretch. And NASCAR, their fun asses are just like, you know what? We wanted to stay consistent between the Xfinity and the Cup race, so we're not going to throw a caution here. What the fuck? Swear to God, the officiating decisions in this sport never get any more simple. No matter how much more complicated they get, they never get more simple. That's an analogy that I didn't need to make, but it was an analogy that I did anyways. AJ Allmendinger, after having a pretty good night, also lost the motor. And then NBC pulled the announcer's jinx on Joey Logano, which I thought was really funny. They were doing a pit report on him about how they're like, yeah, we're just going to have to... I actually don't remember what the fuck they were saying, but it was like something like, oh, yeah, we just got to hold on, got to ride it out. You know, we're going to do just fine. And then, like, 5 seconds later, he gets spun from the lead and was really funny. So, and that set up a pretty late run to the finish. And there were so many drivers that were up front contending for the win that had no business being in the playoffs at all. You had Justin Haley up there. You had Cole Custer. You had Brad Keselowski. You had so many drivers up there. And it was setting up. Everybody was like 3 and 4 wide fighting for the finish. And you're like, oh my God, when are they going to crash? When are they crash? But they didn't crash until after the finish. Yeah, Chris Buescher up there, Ryan Preece, all fighting for a spot in the playoffs. And you want to know who won the fucking race? Guess who won the fucking race? You thought it was one of the guys that was up there fighting for a win that needed it? No. Fucking Ryan Blaney won it. What a boring ass fucking finish. Excuse me for a second. Garry stalled.
Hello. I'm tired. I was literally asleep before this.
All right, I'm back. Yeah. We had all that. We had all that playoff drama. We had all these drivers that were, nowhere business even being in the playoffs, but they needed a win. It was going to be a new winner. And sneaking through all of them for the win is one of the most boring personalities in the entire sport, Ryan Blaney. The only thing he's notable for is having a smoking hot girlfriend or wife. Are they engaged? I think they're engaged. Who knows? Yeah, that motherfucker goes on and wins. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, such a great finish. They were 4 wide. 4 wide photo finish. 4 wide. No. No new winner. No big one at the end. Bad finish.
To you.
Yeah, because I wanted a new winner. I wanted a
To
new
me,
winner.
I was happy.
But with Ryan Blaney winning, there was no new winner, which means Alex Bowman is in the playoffs as well, on top of Tyler Reddick. So, Alex Bowman fans out there, we're happy. And you know what? I'm okay with Alex Bowman being in the playoffs. I think he deserved it. But I wanted a new winner. Hell, we got a good 30 seconds of seeing fucking Cody Ware's number in the playoffs because he was leading at one point. You want to know the absolute chaos that would have came with a Cody Ware win?
They would have probably penalized him.
They probably would have penalized him. But you know what? For a few moments in the night, we would have seen it. So that was that. Overall, not a terrible weekend at Daytona. Rain, big crashes, photo finishes. What more could you ask for? Other than 2 really boring cars winning the races. So, that was Daytona. This is, I don't know, just put it in the box. Alright, before we get to the playoff previews or updates, I do have some silly season news. I mentioned last week that Matt Crafton is retiring after the season from full-time Truck Series competition. And they also announced who the driver was going to be of his new of the 88 going into 2026, and I just forgot to say it. It's going to be Ty Majeski, already at Thor Sport. He'll just be moving over to the 88 from the 98, I think is his number now. Might be 66. No.
It's either 98 or 99.
No, 99 is Ben Rhodes. I think 98 is Ty Majeski.
I'll look.
Speaking of the Truck Series, Colleague announced that they are going to be the starting partner to drive Ram trucks in the Truck Series in 2026. So that's pretty cool. Hopefully more teams partner with them, but we'll have to see how that goes for the first season. And this is not surprising, but they finally did formally announce it. Connor Zilic will be going full-time in the Cup Series next year, and he will be taking over Daniel Suarez's ride in the 99 car. Everybody knew that's what was going to happen the minute that they said Daniel Suarez wasn't coming back to Trackhouse, but they finally did make the decision, or they finally did make the formal announcement, which is nice to see. So it was a pretty eventful week for Connor Zilic.
Ty Majeski was in the 98.
Aha, see, I was right. I'm a wiener. And some funny news. Rick Ware Racing and their attempt have been blocked by a judge in their attempt to sell their charters. What a saga this has turned into. Rick Ware's been trying to sell off his charters because he says, fuck off, I don't want to be with NASCAR anymore. And a judge just said, fuck you, you're going to keep racing in NASCAR because you're not going to sell these charters. So we'll see what happens with that. Been a lot of court cases relating NASCAR stuff lately. Don't know how I feel about that, per se. But I thought this one was pretty funny. But what's not very funny is we have two very sad deaths in the sport over the last week. First off, Humpy Wheeler passed away at 86. Long-time track promoter. I think everybody knows the name Humpy Wheeler, if you know anything with NASCAR. Very sad death there too. Zachary Yeager, who was a pit crew member for several teams over the last 10 years, passed away at the young age of 35. Complications. So very, very sad there. A lot of teams are going to be running memorial stickers for both of them this coming weekend. That's very, very sad stuff to hear. Rest in peace, guys. Absolute legends. But that's all the silly season news I had. Gary, I don't know if you have anything else to offer.
Nothing's really been up in the news recently.
All right, well then we'll get to playoff stuff. The Truck Series was off last week, so not going to go over their stuff. We'll run over the Xfinity picture, as they still have a couple of races left to go before they get to their playoffs. Currently, drivers locked in are Connor Zilic, Justin Allgaier, Austin Hill, Sam Mayer, Jesse Love, Brandon Jones, Sammy Smith, and Nick Sanchez. In ninth, sitting 120 points above the cut line, despite a not great night at Daytona, is Carson Kvapil. Sheldon Creed, after also not the greatest night at Daytona, sits 10th, 84 points above the cut line. Taylor Gray still sitting in a decent position as well, despite a bad night, 67 points above the cut line. And Harrison Burton still holding on to that last cutoff spot, 36 points above the cut line. Meanwhile, Jeb Burton is 36 points below the cut line. He is the only driver that can, in any way, shape, or form, points their way in. Everybody else, Ryan Sieg, Dean Thompson, Christian Eckes, all the way on down, has to win in order to make the playoffs. And also, the Cup Series playoff grid is set in stone. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This should be good. We'll start with the drivers that sit below the cut line. Taking on the last spot in the playoffs, he got in on points. Seated in 16th is Alex Bowman. He'll start 5 points below the cut line. Seated in 15th, 2 points below the cut line. Only in because of his Richmond win is Austin Dillon. Seated 14th. Well, there's a tie, actually. There's a tie for 13th between both drivers 1 point below the cut line. It is Tyler Reddick, the other driver that points their way into the postseason, and Josh Berry, who I think will be an easy first-round boot, along with Austin Dillon. I think Alex Bowman and Tyler Reddick can both points their way into the second round, though. There's also a tie for 11th, both 1 point above the cut line. Ross Chastain and Joey Logano. There's a tie for 9th as well between Austin Cindric and Bubba Wallace. They are both 2 points above the cut line. In 8th is Chase Briscoe, 4 points above the cut line. 7th is Chase Elliott, 7 points above the cut line. In 6th is Shane Van Gisbergen, 16 points above the cut line. In 5th is Christopher Bell. He's 17 points above the cut line. Ryan Blaney sits in 4th after his Daytona win. He's 20 points above the cut line. He's the highest seeded Ford, by the way. The highest seeded Toyota, Denny Hamlin, 23 points above the cut line. And then we have a tie for first, actually, between William Byron and Kyle Larson. Both are 26 points above the cut line. William Byron, the regular season champion, by the way, gets that little extra boost. So, that is the Cup Series playoff grid. My thoughts going in, I think it'd be really funny if Shane Van Gisbergen made it all the way to the Final Four. And while that probably won't happen, it'd be, again, really, really funny. But with that in mind, we head to this weekend. Truck and Cup are in Darlington, while the Xfinity Series is heading out west to Portland. Obviously, we know what Darlington offers. Long race, hard on tires, lots of different changing conditions on the track. Help, really set the stone in stone who's going to make a run in the playoffs and who isn't for both trucks and the Cup Series. And then Portland, Xfinity Series still trying to figure out who's going to make the playoffs. And Portland is a tough road course. Always wonder if rain might affect there, as it has in the past. So there's a lot of interesting factors to consider there. Should be a lot of chaos with, some drivers still trying to points their way in. Some trying to just go all out, desperate for a win. Some trying to improve their seating. Again, a lot of things can happen this weekend. So we'll start with the Xfinity prediction. I know the order is still Truck, Xfinity, Cup as far as when they're going to race. But because they're at different tracks, we'll do Xfinity first, because they're at a different track. Who do we think is going to win the Xfinity race?
Austin Hill.
I'm going to go Connor Gillich. Shane Van Gisbergen's not racing the Xfinity race, by the way, because he has to be for Cup. So, otherwise I'd pick him to win, because it's a road course, but he won't be there. All right, then the truck race. Darlington. Who do we think is going to advance out of the first round?
Matt Crafton.
Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something if Matt Crafton won? I gotta pick him because he didn't win last week because there wasn't a truck race. Corey Heim. Whoa. Fucking Corey Heim will probably win because everybody else will blow a tire by halfway. And then that brings us to Cup Series, the Southern 500. Another night race. We have 3 night races in a row, guys. 3 night races in a row. That's pretty impressive. Well, hold on. Before I make that claim, oh my god, the Tigers are getting their ass beat again. What the fuck? Who's on the mound? Casey Mize. Casey Mize getting his ass beat. God damn it.
Now you know who our favorite baseball team is. Just a
Anyways,
little coincidence.
I'm looking up the Darlington weather. Hold on. There it is. Oh, actually, it could rain. It could rain. They could get postponed to Monday. And the race on 11 a.m. on a Monday. But it'd be Labor Day, so I think the attendance figures would still be probably pretty good. By the way, happy Labor Day to everybody out there. Hope you enjoy your 3-day weekend. I won't because I'm going to be working it all. But anyway, Cup Series predictions. Here we go.
Alex Bowman.
I feel like I'm going to eat shit for talking shit about him earlier. Oh no, I talked shit about Ryan Blaney. I'm fine. I'm good.
Who knows? He'll get his first win at Darlington. Cindric.
I'm a winner. Unless Bowman wrecks out, then you'd be a winner.
Unless Cindric wrecks out before Bowman.
Which will probably happen. But who knows? Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Live, Laugh, Left podcast. I know it's a little shorter episode. I'm fucking exhausted, so I want to go to bed. And Garry wants to go to bed, too. In fact, he was in bed, and then I woke him up. He has a job to do. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode. Stay tuned for other much more amazing content. We'll review the first round of the Cup and Truck playoffs, and we will get closer to the Xfinity playoffs next week, along with other fun, amazing stuff. Until next time, see you guys later. Goodbye.